All right, everybody, let's get right to it. Welcome back for the week. What's going on? Let's get right into it. Whole lot to deal with. Markets trying to follow through on the downside now, and I'm just looking for some zero DTE put plays for today. This is something right now, 367, and take a look at that. Zero DTE just for today. One of the problems has been a lot of these have been carrying over to the next day. We haven't had too many follow through days. And this was kind of a follow up from Thursday that I was pretty frustrated with Thursday, mainly because I had a ton of setups, but they weren't zero DTE. They were the next day. And it worked out. I mean, it was a lot of the things we talked about in that presentation worked out the next day. And I even said, it might take an extra day, which it did. And you're seeing the follow through now. So let me get to here. Let's pop this up. Let's take a look at SPY, QQQ, and get it going. Quick shout out to the chat. What's going on? Welcome, everybody. Justin, Evan, Vegas, Marcin, Spoon, Mateo, Miss Stephanie, Alex, Daniel, everyone else. It's a big day for you folks that know the software, the whole framework here. The SPY is wanting to do a dot today. So I've been talking about this for a while. Talked about the bigger crab pattern. We know why 451's been important. And even the check back, and that was, I guess, was that Wednesday or Tuesday? That was Thursday that we checked back. So now today's the second bearish day. That's your follow through. And I expect at least a reaction into the end of the month off of this. Let's just go step by step. And I think 436 is your likely static objective. Target one, still 419. That hasn't changed. Could we get some kind of October collapse into that area? It is a thought, and it's a thought in the same way that we're looking for trend continuation like we did here. Okay, the only problem with the first confirmation up here at the hop level was you had no follow through and you ran into a bullish counter signal. That's why all this consolidation. Even so, here was the original completion. We've been dealing with this pattern all summer long. Confirmation was there. Okay, that's the first dot, and that was July. But we had the warning just to walk step by step, because not every pattern zone is a clean turnaround break and go. But this is something that's a lot better after the fact. 419, target one. That hasn't changed. We've been talking about that all summer, but it's going to take more time. It's going to take more time because of this, because of that signal there. Even within this zone, that's an important HSI check back. So for the SPY, you should be thinking 436 to 432. Now, let's go. 440.64 and for today. So just to give you a little kind of midday update, check it out. SPY and the Qs are sitting on a 5-minute crab with today's decline. Some nice back-to-back pattern action. Only problem here, no confirmation. Give me a dot. I mean, take a look at the difference between this pattern. Beautiful T1, almost to a perfect T2. Didn't get there this morning in the pre-market, but you're there. Regular trading hours, I think, is probably the better, more realistic levels for execution. Why? Because we're seeing a lot of aftermarket movement that's just gyration. So here we have a 5-minute regular trading session. There's a yellow dot, bullish side. That helps it, at least for now, for a downside target for today. Keep an eye on that. I mean, you hit your target. We hit the target I spoke about this morning in the Discord. It's kind of like this. Here are the Qs. This was a failed Gartley. Now, this is a little different structurally, and you have to go back on the 5-minute for the Qs. Go to the regular trading hours. Now, you get a crab pattern, but the thing that we really are going to talk about in the next 30 minutes, what are we going to do here? Because we have a counter HSI signal on the 5-minute. Right now, this is big. And this is where understanding how important confirmation is with patterns can really help you in terms of the management, especially when you get a dud. Take a look. There's where the T1 was generated, and that was this morning. 30 minutes into the session. Little bounce and roll, but no bullish confirmation. And now we're faced with a bearish 5-minute signal. So I would think that, I was thinking earlier this morning we would come back to that 368.08 on this hop move. So let's watch and see. That's a tough signal to get in front of in terms of going long. The best thing that could happen, it would be go to target one and then come back down today. but it's, with a counter trend HSI signal like that. And then the other easy way to assess any harmonic pattern is you go from T1, that's completion of the pattern, and then just do a 30 bar manual projection. Where are we? 30 bars and 35-minute bars for today. We've printed a bearish confirmation in a bullish zone. That says more confirmation, more consolidation. Sorry. I would look at that as like needing more time. And again, back down, maybe back to the hop at 367. Nothing really there yet. So we looked at the SPY, the Qs. They also did a dot on the daily chart. They're in a slightly different spot. They're a lot further above their daily pattern, but yes, we are. I mean, check it out. Today's going to be, you'll get a red candle today. Not as bad as, there you go. Not as bad as what the SPY looks like, but certainly an area where this breakdown, it's off of that signal, is critical. Where you get under 366, 365, forget it. You're looking for a straight shoot back to 356. That's a really important signal. Also, it's the first signal that's lower in a long time on the daily chart. So you have HSI, you have a dot, lower. HSI, you have a dot and lower. Both those signals lower. I'm kind of thinking that, and I, much like SPY, although SPY seems to have progressed more, I would still look at this zone, 356 and then 344. Weekly chart is a little more interesting because we do have a dot, and it's this alternate bat that, regardless, obviously the big challenge, and we talked about this all summer long, the big 886 challenge is clearly putting in a reaction. It's like that. I mean, we have the software is tracing out an alternate bat because that's the configuration. But even against this 886, just shy. But already hitting resistance, it's, not going to bust through on this move, clearly. And that's a weekly chart. So you need to consider, if that's not going to break through, what's your best hope for SPY? Is that the B point develops some kind of crab-like 886 thing, crab-like structure, to set you off for next year. If we want to try to connect dots and then use those dots to make, estimates, guesstimates, I would even say, of just connecting dots. Let's say this is an 886 B point, folks, on the weekly, which I think it is. I think it's maybe not exactly an 886, but if this is a structure that's starting a 5-wave W formation that will eventually take you to new highs, and that this is going to be something, with an 886, you would go to the 1618 on that extension. Look, I'm just putting together dots here. I don't want to get crazy on anything. And you'll see where I'm getting to in a second. A very conditional reasoning also, meaning if this, then that. But we don't even have the if there. But if this is the B point at the 886, and that is going to be the ultimate formation going into next year or even into 2025, this C point has to be a 382. Just be aware of that. This has to be a 382 C point. That's like 335, 336. This is the same retracement that we have been wanting to guesstimate with a couple other major stocks. So it's definitely kind of in formation, has a few structural items here that fairly interesting. And then let's just put right in front of us what we have, which is a clear HSI signal on the weekly. But guess what that's doing? And what it typically does. You register the HSI, there's going to have to be a check back. In most situations, that's what we're looking for. It's not every one, but the best ones are. Even with that, that brings you to 361. I think that's something to consider for this week. Maybe next week, I'll look at some of those options. But that gets us back to at least coming back down here. There's more reasons why we need to come back. If you were bullish or you wanted to be bullish this market, there are some signals that have to be generated to jump on that. And one of the main ones, even with a high level HSI like that is, it's a retest of that bar. The low of that is 364.25. That could happen this week. I really think you've got a lot of things here where this short-term structural retest, that's what we're looking at right now. It's an HSI checkback. The larger things within that framework help to push it down. But it's there. And guess what? It's September 19th. We are coming into fall season. Get it? Fall season. And, October, we're 1 month away from prime October. Let's see what happens. Can we get the full type 1 on that, on any of these? Probably even better to go to the 4-hour chart because, the 4-hour chart does look like this. Extended hours here. Bring that back in. One second. Oh, would be better if I get that bat pattern up. There you go. Just within this larger range, there we do have this bat. I don't know why I had that deselected. Coming back again at, right basically where we are right now, 365 or 366.21. That's a structural minimum. Are we coming back into the zone? Looks like it. And I would expect this to be, chopping down into here. And you're not going to get the bigger targets unless we take out summer lows. June 21 low, August 18 low. Interesting. Quick shout out everybody to the chat. We did want to highlight the fact that we have the new auto finder, type 1, type 2 auto finder. So is it a reaction? Is it a reversal? Where are the targets? And that's expressed now as T1 and T2. Also, quick note, they are color coded. So this green T1 relates to that candle. So T1, it's green, it's that pattern. And then you see this T2 dollar sign. Where did that come from? Well, go back, look left. And it always helps to. It's interesting how these come together, but it is off of this bearish pattern. Not the prettiest of formations, but there is something back there as well. 363. And then see it again. You had a T1 dollar sign, and then there's T2. And since the T2 dollar sign, we've been down. No pattern. What I think will happen is we'll get another bullish pattern. It already looks like it's trying to put together some type of M formation. It could be something like this. And I mentioned this before, that the current breakdown under 369, that should trigger a full 886 retest of the August low. Not a big deal. 358, 359. You see how these numbers are starting to stack up where we crack a little bit lower, you're going to flush out a whole nother level, set of levels. So keep an eye on that phenomenon. Keep the eye on the fact that your daily SPY, your daily cues are going to trigger with today's ugly bearish candle, big dot continuation. So just be aware of that. Be aware of the fact that it's also a lower secondary reading. I'm still looking for this correction to set you up for something really nice into next year. You know, a little October reaction down to major targets would then give us a great platform to launch off of into next year. But we still need to do something here. Come down here this way on a longer term scale. I'm certainly not longing in the face of confirmation, and not only lower highs, but lower indicator readings. Let's see. Evan says, and what's up, chat? It's good to see everybody here today. Evan says, the lost decade if we start to break new lows. No, sorry, the lost decade was the first decade of the century, basically, 2003 to 2008, 9. Your market, you could have sat out that entire market and then got in 2011. I think that was the lost decade. And then last decade was the paper decade. Let's see what this next one's going to do. I do think of it in that regard, though. I think of it in terms of the second year, third year of every decade is usually the nastiest. Then you try to develop something through 4 and 5, and then the second half of the decade, statistically, better returns. That's where we are. With this, and after what happened this year, there's a lot going on to pay attention to. Cues on the weekly. Yeah, the cues on the weekly are the interesting proposition here because of the 886 rejection and the few things that are developing where this next correction is what I'm in. I would love to see a nice 10% drop. That would be amazing. I think that would be just give you an opportunity, another opportunity of the decade, if we could get that. So let's focus on it. Really quick, why not take a quick peek at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, because there are some interesting things happening there where, look at this chart. It really hasn't done much. Longer term, even, I find this extremely interesting, where we're still clearly on this uptrend, long-term uptrend. This one's rejecting its 886. I said this to my group yesterday. The kind of positions I'm interested in are things that are on a decade long or multi-year uptrends that are going to come back and retest that trend line. Dow is one of them. But it's still not moving. I mean, this is just, look, this is 2023. So here's 2023, and you basically start the year at 33,000. You're at 34. You're between 35 and 32. I mean, it's fairly tight, predictable range, and even our last signals are bearish here, 34.8. 35,000, I mean, a true breakout above 35,000 on a weekly or even a monthly is essential to get that going, no matter what you do. Couple more. Hold on, let me come back to this. Let's look at one or two of the big ones. Apple. Watching this closely because Apple is back down Its target one off of this big deep crab is 167, but take a look at the shark, the bullish shark. So why isn't it? Apple should have done a straight shot to 167.62. It didn't. And now you're printing, look, there's target one dollar sign. There's that reaction. Here's your next trade. This is why I watching this closely, because I don't have any confirmation here, but I did print a target too. Where's going to be the dot? Like there was T1, but there's the first T1 dot telling you roughly 174. I mean, this is probably more like 172, 173, but no confirmation yet. A lot of things going on, and this is definitely a 2 of 2 pattern. I would prefer just to come down, hit 1672, 167.62, and go from there. It's an interesting spot. Apple is, of the big patterns and big stocks with those crab patterns, it's almost perfect. Netflix is probably the other. It's been a crab pattern. We said 437 the whole time, resistance all summer long. With an eventual run to 386, you're almost there. It just, look, first reaction ran into an HSI. Second, another HSI. It just ping-ponged off these HSIs. So at least we're within striking target of the level, and HSI is clearly dumping oversold. But that's another one that it'll come to completion maybe in the next week, and you'll need at least 2 days to hit that level, give you an HSI reversal, and then retest it. So it's a little bit lower, but it's close. And this is different than, say, Apple. Well, the last one, that there's these three that are doing it. Microsoft's the other one that's got a big pattern up here at 330. There you go. This is a bat. I think it's also on the weekly, it's a crab or a shark. It's a shark. Back to back too. So this is pretty important. I think in the short term, you're still threatening lower 322. Keep an eye on that one. Really quick, I think the Qs are rolling over here, folks. It looks like this on the 5-minute, really quick. Yeah, there's our classic midday dot in a bearish zone. That's not what you want to see. Yikes. Keep an eye. There's nothing underneath that 366 level. We could really drop. If this thing breaks down off of that midday dot, that could be really something else. And you remember, you're sitting on the regular trading hours. Look how different these patterns are. You have a crab pattern here but both have this counter trend dot. So I think off of this pattern, you're looking back to 367. It's still down. You would need something in your direction to make that happen. Couple more. What do you guys have? Did we do Tesla? No. We'll keep that in the group, but Tesla is another one just bouncing left and right. Daily is just printed a dot yesterday, 2 days ago, and that's a bat. But we didn't get, look, we almost got a perfect type 2 here to 289. And you want to definitely watch out for that. I mean, it's probably more about the weekly. Why? Because the weekly, look at what this has been printing, back-to-back stuff. So you're in a consolidation, and then take a look. There's the T1 to T2 or T1 dollar sign, we would need a T2 back at 289. A lot of chop until then, but Tesla's still, it's trying to hold up there impressively. Maybe go to the 4 hour and trigger off of stuff like this. 4 hour type 2 bat. Oh, not a type 2. It didn't. Look how close this is. So actually, all right, it's good to show you the kind of thing here where it literally was just shy 242.18. The target was 12, but clear yellow dot up here. That's going to cap it for a while. I just don't, right now, even the ones that have held up, like Meta has held up, probably relatively stronger than the rest, still would need more time. There's Meta on the, let's go to the daily. Yeah, Meta has been a real challenge at 300. Every time it pops it above, they're trying to sell it. I think it has a lot to do with the crab pattern. The target 2 here. Right up there. I don't think, listen, don't buy the pumps, buy the dumps and accumulation. I guess so. I just think it's where you are in a lot of these, you need to generate some signals to end what started back in July. That's it. That's what you need to do. Couple more. I think, well, go to Disney, obviously, today, and you take a look at that. That's a big Dow stock, one of the worst performing, and that has done zero. I mean, that's really, go to the weekly here on Disney, that's just train wreck. Not to mention the last couple of HSI signals still down. We haven't generated an oversold condition on Disney yet. And likely that Disney just does like some kind of 1618 flush. Maybe it's, nothing's projecting just yet, but it could be like this. It could be, Disney wants to do some kind of weekly deep crab type of thing where it's in a 1618, down to a 1618 down there is like 65, or even like a 1902, which is the overshoot move. These are much lower possibilities for Disney in a crazy kind of way. Couple more. What are you guys looking at? Daniel, yeah, weren't you the one that sent me the stem cell thing? And it was very good. Stem cell. There you go. Someone sent this to me on the Discord. Daniel's asking for it today. There you go. I mean, that's a 2 of 2 in this kind of environment. But look, T2, HSI, yellow dot, and you're right there. Around 480, $5. Maybe we should follow that. Pretty interesting stuff there. No doubt. One or two of the story stocks, the things like Bit Digital did the little dot here, and crypto showing a little life, but that's just a target 1 up to 322, but that's another one we've mentioned previously. Okay. What else? Crude oil, ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil, I talked about this. Big daily dot. There's a crab. I mean, there's a lot of things up here on this next retest that I'd still say we're range bound on. So if you're looking for a breakout, I don't think so. I don't think you're going to get it on here. I think the crude oil situation we know. We've talked about that. Where an ExxonMobil Look, every time we get to the hop level, no confirmation yet, but you're about to kiss it maybe in a couple of weeks. But 114.69, I know you're at 117. Anything above that has really been challenging, and it's because the pattern's there. It would be really tough for me to go long at a spot like that. If it broke out or it was, follow through move where you knew it was continuing much higher, that would be above 120. Kind of not, I'm really hesitant on crude oil as a major breakout. I wouldn't be surprised to see it stay range bound. Exxon goes from, basically 120 is your max, 117, and comes back down into the 102, 104 area. And this is similar to the Chevron. I mean, we're still looking for 177 on Chevron to get to target 2. Daily. It's a Gartley. Target 2 because it's type 2. 177.93. Keep an eye on that one. 1 second. 1 second, everybody. Okay, everybody. When the wife calls, you have to stop what you're doing. That was the wife. Anyway, that's what we're doing. She says hello, by the way. What's up, Mr. Kennedy? He says is checking back. And it's a 3-bar reversal yesterday. Yeah, it was. Daniel's telling me that STEM is not stem cell. It's an energy, a new energy power source thing. All right, I'll look it up. Yeah, I did catch it on Discord. You were the one that sent it to me. Nice. Couple more in this space, sure. I mentioned this to my group yesterday. This is a super longer term one, Southwest Energy. And boy, this took forever, but it got to target 1 and now getting rejected. I mean, we were at this XA level around 580, 550, something like that. So, and that could be done for now. The thing on crude oil is that you're running into that target 1, which is about what we should get on this level here. Did we hit it? We almost got it. We almost clipped it. It's a weekly? Hold on, bear with me. Hold on. I obviously, I know my settings off because there should be a bat pattern here. Ah, come on. Where'd it go? I'm sorry, folks. I had a bat pattern coming off a bat pattern on the futures chart. I don't know where it got to. That's really annoying. What the heck? Hold on. Yeah, it was crude oil futures, and I know there's a bat pattern here. Let me come back to this. I don't know what I'm missing here, but there was a bat pattern, and it's $93. Let's take a look. Yeah. Let me just show you XLE again, because that's the other one. Listen, XLE is back here at has a few numbers up here, and we're trying to print a dot. So I thought this was pretty interesting for the day as well. Look, You're going to do a bearish candle today, and you're doing a reversal right at your XA level, 90.56. So again, this is not the makings of a breakout. That's actually the beginning of some kind of reaction, get you back down, maybe back to 83 bucks. It's not, it's just not there. It's just not there for a bigger move. I mean, it's getting rejected at resistance where it should, with a dot, with confirmation. A couple more. I am not going to go too long today. I'm going to get out right in about 10 minutes. We'll be back on Thursday. Oh, I didn't even. So, quick update as to our Thursday. From Thursday, where did that go? Let me just say this. So, as an update from last week, we are going to go do another session, do another option session. I think in October, maybe in a month. I really didn't feel like I hit it out of the park on that one. So best place to start and get what you need is register now as a basic member. So the thing that I caught wind of is that TradingView should be instituting option data before the end of the year. So if that's the case, then that's going to make everybody's life easier, and we'll be able to do everything on Harmonic Pattern Collection for TradingView. So go to there, register now as a basic member, and go to the basic members page and get the resources. Because the other thing to point out that I'm going to upload, I did upload some of that other material on the basic members page. So your resource videos and all the things you want to check out are here. And as I mentioned before, a lot of the stuff we did there is on volume 3. If you want to get that free trial for TradingView or any of them, but check the information here. Send your username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. That's where to do it. Just get on Harmonic Trader. All the info is there. So you get the tracker. I mean, you get the auto tracker there. Huh. Okay. Yeah, but it's not. I haven't announced it yet. I'm not ready to quite roll out exactly. I think it has to be, again on 0 DTE or 1 day type of thing. 0 to 1. Short-term options, because that's all it's moving. Look at all this chop. I mean, this is it's you're not really in a trending market, folks. We're still not in trending like we're out of last year. I mean, we are out of last year's decline, but trending, no. This is not a market that is really moving, and we're certainly in this consolidation phase for the last 2 months that give us issue. Ah, come on. We do not do 90% off. You know that. I'm going to remove you from the chat, man, for that kind of a comment. I'm joking, but, we don't do that. I think you get it because there's nobody else that has these levels. Like if you're not looking at Harmonic and you're willing to ignore the levels and you're an active trader, you go with whatever works. I'm always a fan of that. But I don't think you can do patterns, especially without now auto tracker with the 1-2, because that's, I think, half the battle. When do you know to let something run or something, actively trade it? And this even XLE here on a weekly basis, it's a perfect reaction, but that's all that it is. And so if you're sitting there waiting for the home run trade just because that's one harmonic pattern, that's not the deal. So, and we don't run a 90% off on Black Friday specials. Funny. Anyway, yeah, there's a yellow dot on XLE. Jay is asking, and that's another cautionary tale for what's going on with energy in general. Energy's just a range bound move. I don't. Again, I'm like 92, $93 has been our target. I don't know what happened to my pattern. Let's talk about. Let's jump over to crypto really quick. Bitcoin. What's going on? Bitcoin trying to come out of an oversold condition this week. So I find that really interesting that it's doing it here on the weekly, but again, we know that's still early, but at least that's a first sign on the weekly chart that, hey, this is just going to eat up more time. So I don't care what it does because I'm not in any kind of acceleration phase on Bitcoin to say that this is going to move anytime soon. But that's the first signal you've seen on Bitcoin. It won't be official until the end of the week, but look, there, like there, like there. I mentioned this before. That's the only signal that failed in terms of HSI on the bullish side. I think it's out of 16 or 18 signals on the weekly chart. So this matters. This definitely matters. I'll have to go back. I did have some stats on that. But that's the big development. And then the daily development, of course, I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss even this type 2. It's just we didn't really have perfect confirmation the way I'd want to see it, but it is reacting. So maybe stay in the zone and do something a little bit bigger. For me, I'd have to wait for really the weekly. If the weekly could set up in the next, I don't know, month, and you could get a weekly signal that generates a yellow dot, you might have something. But I still say it's early. I still say really early on what you're looking at. If you're off of that pattern, okay, it's a trade. And your objective, your target $2 sign will come in at T2. That's how it works. So keep your eyes on that. Be aware that you're in a T2 on the bat pattern so far. You're also in you actually hit the target for the bearish shark from there to there because it was a huge candle when you hit that target. It ended up being all the way down there. So certainly some things to go on daily chart. I'm more concerned about the weekly. I want the big weekly signal to go give you a really nice continuation or something that would get this out of the 20,000 level. Because I think you could be stuck even in consolidation all the way up to 37,000. But this is a good sign. This is a first step, really. But we see how it closes the week. I mean, it's only Tuesday. You have to close this bullish. Bullish and clearly out. And that's first step. Look, you go to that. You go to, if we're doing a top 5. Okay, XRP. What's going on there? I said this last week. I know everyone is really thrilled and really thinks XRP is the place to be for the next cycle. And it very well might be. But this is the first bullish, real bullish candle we've seen on the weekly chart since that type 1 completed. And what's the KuCoin? Where's the Binance feed? Was probably the best of all. Where there's the T1, there's the T2. All right, you get a yellow. If you get a check back and you get the HSI this week, like I said, for the kind of ideal signature I'd want to see, you're 2 or 3 weeks away. Daily time frame, you got oversold, excuse me, overbought, sorry, oversold at a somewhat critical level around 47. Where's the pattern? Where is it on Coinbase? So to me, if it's 47 or 50, I'm more interested. What's really going to get me going on it is something where the weekly gives me an HSI. The weekly stops going down and turns around, which it could be starting to do. Ethereum probably needs a pattern. So, and it's, I think XRP of the two, I'd favor XRP. There's really not a heck of a lot going on for Ethereum yet. But if you take a look at it, it's just been sideways for a while. And it's trying to do this, trying to give you, like the rest of them, look, you're trying to print something on HSI and you are oversold. We have to wait till Sunday. But that's a first step after all of this stuff. And I'll say this. It's not something to ignore that here you are again. You're back at the 21st, the fall season, equinox, however you want to say it, is in 2-3 days. And you've got crypto trying to make another low. So let's just focus on that stuff. All right. And see how that get in here. Another 2 days, 3 days. You can wait for that. But let's look for patterns. The other one that has major patterns that maybe it's 25 cents. I don't know. I'm looking. Give me some clear dots. Here's Cardano. That's a 2 of 2 at 25. I still think that could flirt with the 20-cent mark, but if you were interested in it, maybe you go in slow. Maybe you go in slow because if it does the drawdown from 25 cents to 20 cents and you're like, what happened to the last 20% I just put in? Oh, it wants to come to the hop. All right. Not yet though, but you're almost there. Maybe the weekly has another oversold too. So crypto, if you can do something this week, you have my attention. You have my attention, crypto. So let's just focus on that. One or two more. Like I said, I'm going to wrap it up here in a couple minutes. What are the ones that the patterns? Well, you got this fetch, AI, that's a weekly, 18. There's a lot going on there. My point here, we're getting to October. And this is only if Bitcoin generates an oversold trigger on the HSI. Then I'd start to look at stuff like this. Then I would consider maybe if Bitcoin can give me a yellow dot and start moving, then I'll look at stuff like fetch, or what was the other one? I think it was this one. It was this Cortex. That might have been a daily. Yeah, there it is. Daily. BAT. Beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful structure and everything you want to see. It's just these have been flatlining until they do some kind of crazy push. I think you're at a point where at 12 cents, it could go to 21 or 22 and then come right back down. So if you're looking for a home run, that's why I say it's not there yet, but we do have big patterns that I'm not trying to, blow off for crypto. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's, it's time to get it a little more serious if Bitcoin wants to do the thing that it's trying to do. Come on back. There you go. Would need to be a weekly. Yeah, it needs to be this weekly signal. So that's what we'll come back to for the next, I would say, 4 or 5 sessions, because that'll take a week to generate and then another week or two before you get a dot, check back and a dot. But in a few weeks, we could be sitting there saying, okay, Bitcoin's now ready to do something off of that signal, at least maybe go back to the low 30s. Let's see how it shapes up. All right. Listen, bring everything back on Thursday. Your other questions, I'll have more information next time, but get with me on the software. And you have any questions, get with Miss Stephanie on the Discord. All right, everybody, have a great Tuesday. We'll see you Thursday, 12 noon. Until then, as always, go get them.